Okie dokie. Artichoke, welcome to the OverGeneral AI Podcast. I am here with my co-host and good friend Reed Sealfoss. We're going to be getting this stuff off the ground, so there might be some technical difficulties the first few times we do it. I hope you understand. Let's see. Let's take a look. His camera is not showing up. Guest 2, webcam 2. Let me do a little thing here. Properties. Start collab cam. That's why. I didn't start the collab cam. Guest is joined. Show on stream. There we go. Okay, now we're in, except now my camera's all screwed up. Lord, if it's not one thing, it's another, huh? All right. Properties. And deactivate and activate. There we go. That should fix it. All right. How's it going, Reed?
Hey, man. The arm on my mic it fell off the table, so I had to fix it. Yeah, but it seems okay now.
Yeah. It looks okay. You got one of them ice blue. I got one of those snowballs in my closet somewhere. I replaced it. I replaced it for one of these Elgato mics. I kind of like it better. I like the boom arm. I like the fact that it's like over my head. You can hear me just fine, right? Like the sound isn't too goofy. No, it's a condenser mic too, so it's like. Bleh.
I was thinking about. Well, I got this boom arm here, and I was thinking about mounting it to the wall and stuff, but I don't know. I don't like. I'm allergic to like drills and stuff. I don't want to put things.
Well, this clamps on my desk, so like it's an arm that clamps on my desk and it goes up and over like that. So.
Mine's clamped to my desk too, but yours must be like some real shit because mine is it can't go up and over anything.
Just got it at Micro Center, nothing special. All right, so here we are, the inaugural episode of OverGeneral AI. This is episode number 1, which means I'm going to ham it the hell up until I get comfortable.
Okay. It's fine. We're just talking.
We're just talking. Yeah, we keep having these conversations. We're not recording it. It's a shame. And that's why we're doing this. It's because cool stuff is happening. It's also like 8:55 at night, and both of us are old men, so it's going to get a little bit of yawny. But we've been trying to do this for a while, and it's been hard for us to get it off the ground. That being the case, it's better to just do it. Just rip off the Band-Aid. And by the way, after this, we got to do that intro video that's like a minute or so long. So, put it on the YouTube feed. All right, guys, so we are at youtube.com/@OverGeneralAI. You can find our website, http overgeneral.ai. I also own the .com, but I think the AI is cooler. And you can hit us up on Twitter at OverGeneralAI. We are going to be adding some TikTok clips as they come along. Right now, that account is pretty empty, but we will be filling that up. Hopefully, maybe I can get Cameron to do some of that. Okay, guys, let me blast out that we're actually streaming here because I forgot to do that, and then we can get the show on the road. In the meantime, Reed, why don't you talk to me some about your experiences with Llama 2, because that just hit the ground running, didn't it?
Yeah, I haven't experimented with Llama 2 personally.
Okay, guys.
I've just been watching what the community's been doing with it lately. My day job has been mainly getting in the way of that.
Yeah.
But the main things to take away from it is Llama 1 was a research tool, and it kind of got leaked. So if you weren't like one of the researchers they were trying to give it to, you weren't really supposed to have it. In fact, I think I downloaded it. I got it from a BitTorrent. You know?
Really?
Yeah, I BitTorrented that thing. Why did I do that?
I thought you said the models are open and like you could just use them for commercial use and everything was.
Well, Llama 2. Llama
1 wasn't. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to blast this out on Twitter and stuff, so I'm kind of distracted. I should have done this first.
I was trying to run it on. Well, I wasn't trying. I did. I ran it on an EC2 instance on AWS, and for some reason I needed to get this was like a month ago, so how can I be expected to remember this? There was something with the weights. The format they were in was funny, so I got it from a torrent. The one that I actually kept running with. I was using Colossal Chat to run it at first, and then I just started using Hugging Face's API and stuff.
What was your experience with Colossal Chat? We were talking about this, but I kind of forgot. Why did we transfer off of Colossal Chat and go on to...
We didn't really. It was just I was so EC2. The biggest instance I could get on there only had 64 gigs of VRAM. It was 4 V100 GPUs from NVIDIA, and that wasn't enough to run Big Llama 65 billion parameter model, and so I really wanted to do that, but I had to quantize the weights, and I think at first the easiest path to getting that done was with a package called Bits and Bytes, and it would read in the weights in their like unquantized 16-bit format, and it loaded them into memory. I think in like 4-bit or 8-bit or whatever, and I could use Hugging Face's software to actually like talk to it and get it to do stuff. Whereas Colossal Chat wanted the weights saved in 4 or 8-bit format, and I was doing that with another package, but we started doing other stuff, so I put that on pause. So that was the reason. So yeah, it was basically a VRAM limitation, and then I was like, we should buy a 6-pack of A6000s.
Yeah, we're working on that.
One of these days.
Well, it's not necessary at the moment, but it is, but it isn't. Like, it would be so awesome if we just had that right now. But I'm not gonna drop that kind of money on this right now. Like, that's like a mortgage for most people. It's like, what? And I feel like this is the moment where we start. We're just so you guys know, we're putting together a project. And we're starting to look at some maybe there are benefits to making a product out of this. So, but we'll see where that goes. So I've been noticing that a lot of the VRAM requirements have been drastically coming down. And didn't Sam Altman come out and say that that the open source stuff is outpacing even the big stuff that Open Chat is doing?
No, that's true. They've been getting more performance out of the smaller models, but I mean,
so like from an investment perspective, from my perspective, it's like, what are we like investing in? Really, it's hardware. Hardware like goes like you can you it has turnover time. Like every 2 or 3 years, you're going to need new hardware. So for an early stage project, it's probably just be better to just suck it up and do the expensive freaking like AWS type solutions,
Well, people keep talking about moats in this space, right? Like what is going to protect your product versus other products?
Yeah.
And then the only one that I can think of is really the ability to just dump like big money on hardware, like it's not a big deal, like being able to just get a grip of H100s, even being able to just get H100s at all. Or A100s, or we were talking about a whole bunch of A6000s or something like that, GPUs, and that's the biggest moat that I can really think of, because not everybody can do that.
Right.
And I think that like the big models, I don't know, it's kind of like, well, OpenAI they aren't really like, they should take open out of the name, like they're not telling us.
They were open. I mean, Elon was bitching about it. He's like, I invested in this company, and now they're suddenly like. Didn't he have he had twins with the chief technology? Someone's like white, like this chick there, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
You didn't hear about that? Hold on, let me see if I can pull that up.
No, I don't know anything about that. That's hilarious, though. Just setting up franchises.
Yeah, setting up franchises. Yeah, Siobhan Zillis is big. Oh, maybe it's Neuralink. It might have been Neuralink. Okay. No, Futura has stepped down from the board of artificial intelligence unicorn OpenAI. So she stepped down from their board because, after they found out that she was super pregnant with Daddy Elon's babies. So
I mean, if she's, there may not be anything nefarious there. It may just be, hey,
it was in vitro. That's the other thing that's interesting to me about this.
Really?
It was yeah. This was like IVF or something. Like he filled out a form to impregnate this broad. So like,
I mean, like if you're like into like I don't know, breeding humans or something, she's probably pretty smart and he's obviously
he picked it.
Himself, you know?
He's got a thing for crazy eyes, though. I mean, she's pretty. She's really beautiful.
I don't.
But he does. He's got like a thing for crazy eyes. Okay. He does. Have you noticed that? Like he's got a thing for chicks with like a little bit of crazy, not like super crazy.
I know that he dated, he was married to one of the actresses in Westworld.
She was.
So she was one of the robots.
What, the blonde chick? Was he married to her? Tallulah Riley was that Tallulah Riley?
Yeah. I think he's married. Yeah, I think that was her name. I hope I'm not full of shit, but
no, that's somebody else. I think that's the chick who was with the chick from Westworld. I thought maybe not. I thought that the person from Westworld wasn't her name. I thought maybe
Tallulah, who was Elon Musk's 2-time ex-wife, Tallulah Riley.
She was in Westworld.
Yeah,
I thought that was the chick from Marilyn Monroe and the whole Phoenix Law and that kind of thing.
I don't know. The only thing I know her from is Westworld. But who gives a shit? Anyway, he dropped like a lot of money on them. I think I remember reading the number like $100 million, and then they were like, yeah, we're like totally an open organization and we're a nonprofit and we're just here to save the world. And they're like, oh, wait a second, we have a product that's amazing. Oh no, we can't do that. We gotta make money. So. Ooh, I don't know. Sam Altman. Didn't they just release like some cryptocurrency, like WorldCoin, something like that?
Something else.
I'm gonna look down anybody who buys that shit.
I don't know, man. So it's bad design to
on the end of my nose.
Goon just tweeted about this. I mean, it's a very astute point. I mean, it's bad design from a security perspective to use a biometric as the only sign-in mechanism. You have to have something that can invalidate credentials and like. Basically, look, you have a fingerprint on your phone, you have face thing on your phone, you have the fact you're physically possessing your phone, but your password is the source of the account because your password credentials can be invalidated at any time for any reason, right? Biometrics, things that are permanent on your body, are actually really terrible systems for that, and WorldCoin's nuts. Anyway, that's tangential.
So you were saying something. Are the smaller models outperforming OpenAI, for example? And I don't know if they're really outperforming very much, but they are like they're like keeping up for sure in terms of performance and output, like good output. And a lot of these metrics are based on like a lot of the models, like they're being developed to generate code. Like they want your auto programmer, right? And those models are keeping up with GPT, the big GPTs from an OpenAI. So it's kind of like an open question. Like if you take the techniques used to train these smaller models and scale that on like the way, because I mean, GPT-3, GPT-4, they really leverage scale. Like, oh, we have an ass load of GPUs and all the data we could ever want. Let's push this, crank it up to 11 and see how far it can go. And it's like, well, this is why I say you're not going to get an answer out of OpenAI because they're a product company now, and all they really give a shit about is money. So they're not going to tell you. But it's like, do you apply these? Or that's my hot take as of right now. And if I see that change, I'll let you know. If you take these techniques and apply them at scale, are you going to improve GPT, GPT-4, GPTN, or whatever it may be? So that's a big open question. I don't know.
A lot of the reason people are asking about the moat stuff, it's not just like I know the VRAM issue is going to be solved. Like they are constantly making this smaller. Models are training models, which is a weird dynamic. I mean, that is like a ripple effect, kind of like a.
Well, I call it
amplitude.
So I call it sniffing your own farts. Like
but it's kind of great to bootstrap something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can take multiple models and then use them to train other models, and it just becomes this big Ouroboros of artificial bullshit. And like, I'm really excited about that stuff because it does seem to bring down the data problem space quite a bit. It used to be this huge surface area that was very difficult for people to collapse. But if you can use models to train models, and you use multiple models to train models because they're all out there. Now you've got a training mechanism which only needs very little updated information, only very little.
I mean, potentially. I mean,
it's a
the
good
jury's
bootstrapping.
The jury's kind of out. Well, I mean, everything's moving so quickly, so I can't tell you. Like, there's not a. I don't know where the evidence points right now, and how much evidence is there even? You know, so.
Fuck evidence, just do it.
Like,
I mean, like, really, I feel like you can just do it. If you take the best of Bing and you take the Bard and you take the best. Is it called Bing? Yeah, it is. And you take them all and you mix them together, and like, there's got to be some like emergent new.
Create your own mixture of experts. You know, like out of all those models or something. Yeah.
What I like though is when people are taking things like Wolfram Alpha and using it for fact checking inside of all these systems. Like it's see, here's the thing. This is my hypothesis. The money is not going to be there might be money in LLMs, but the products aren't in LLMs. LLMs are a service; they're not a product. All these generative AI systems, they're services; they're not products. And at the end of the day, when you're going to see the products come out of is the things that are derived from the services. So we're looking at things like something we'll talk later today, Logo Diffusion, which is just a really cool program that builds itself on top of his own stable diffusion that enables him to build something so simple that anybody can make a novel new logo in a really short amount of time and iterate fast. To the point where I think a lot of them are going to be passing for like 90% of people's use cases, and when they don't, they can even send it to a designer and say, this is what I'm thinking. And the designer goes, okay, here, let me build a really good one for you. Like, that kind of stuff, that's a brilliant product. It's very, very easy to accomplish. It's a product. This is where the product space is. It's going to be in taking all of these large infrastructure plays and moving them together, kind of like AWS was enabling scalable architectures all over the place. Basically people could now build larger websites to the point where you can actually deploy what used to be really big data center intensive architecture in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So that's where the product space is. It's not. We are not. You and I are not ever going to be able to build an infrastructure like that.
No. But I'm not interested in doing that. Like I'm interested in making the thing do useful shit. Yeah. And I think that like a lot of the LLM community right now, they kind of joke on that. They're like, oh, you're just a wrapper for GPT. Well, if you've got the use case and you can implement something that, steers the ship of GPT towards, solving a useful problem.
Right.
Yeah, it's really easy to actually do write a wrapper for GPT, relatively speaking. Like you just got to talk to the thing in the right way. But figuring out what you want it to do and how to coax out the right output, that's a really useful thing to do for the community.
It's a problem decomposition thing. You take these large problems and you decompose them into solvable problems by the LLMs, by the generative AIs, so you can actually do something practical with those responses that you're getting back in a repeatable and testable and reliable way. And then you can take those components that you've built and turn it into like an API. And then the real sauce is in taking all that stuff that's been all these little different data points and making them some kind of UI and user experience that won't annoy the shit out of people. Because right now people are getting mixed results typing things in OpenChat. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah. Oh, why? I don't want it to do that. That sounds too corny. Blah, 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 blah. Like literally.
It's kind of like flailing around,
Yeah, everybody's flailing around. And like if you can make it so that they're just sprinting. That's what people want, and the more of those services you could build in one place, I think that's going to be the next big product. So I'm really excited to watch this all grow. It's a good time to start as a product person to actually start getting into it. If somebody's got a product mindset, So I mean, we both have a computer science background.
Yeah.
We both understand the engineering side of it. I think it's really fun to see a lot of these computer science-y folks get into a product mindset because of this, because it's so it's not like we get those kind of opportunities to interface with people in a people oriented way very often. And everything that comes out of these LLMs ultimately has a data component and a human component. And it feels like it makes it easier for me to reason about what a good product looks like.
Yeah, there's like like an intuition about it that
Yes.
you don't really have to use with code. You know, with
Yeah.
code you can definitely say the output was, you know, Y given input X. But I mean, you with these things, a lot of the time you don't know what you're going to get, and the way to get what you want is usually there's a human intuition that you have to use. Like, I think I
Or
told you once,
ignore.
in order to get the right answer out of one of them, I was like, you know, imagine, you know, your life's on the line. You know, like this is a life or death situation. Just give me the right answer, and then it finally will. You know? And it's ridiculous, but it's I don't know. It's super neat. I feel like Mickey Mouse like bringing broomsticks to life. You know what I mean? When I
Yeah.
work with this stuff, it's just awesome.
I
And
love that
I think
analogy.
a lot of computer scientists, like, I don't know, who are into it, like if they even touch it a little bit, they're like, oh my gosh, this is way different from anything else I've done. Like I've mucked around in CUDA drivers before, you know, and reinstalled the operating system because it got all messed up for other purposes. But I mean, that was not. I'm rewarded when I have to do that because I know at least, oh, this time it might work, you know, and then I bring my demon to life, and it's awesome. But
Somebody named Josh doesn't like my background. I don't blame him.
oh, well,
It's
I mean,
it's kind of it's kind of annoying. You want to see it though?
oh,
Yeah. So nobody on the podcast can see it right now, but I
I,
have it.
I always see it's green, but if you have like the robot walking around or
Oh
something,
yeah, I have the. You have to look on the actual stream itself for it to get through. For you, it's just a green
I'll check
screen.
it out later.
Right now, I'm seeing like marching robots, and then what's her name? That robot that had the weird facial expressions that they were. That was a meme. Yeah, that's basically. I've got a bunch of GIFs running in the background of my thing. I could change it if you want, but I don't want. So, Josh, you're gonna have to get used to it. Appreciate you showing up, man. I really do. Welcome to the
Thanks for
first
coming out.
episode of the show. So this is technically a podcast. We're going to turn this into audio mostly and broadcast this out. But I really like the fact that there's viewer participation and that people can actually have a video option. So we're also streaming this on YouTube podcast. So this is going to be a kind of different than my last podcast that I was on. And I think you were on a podcast too, weren't you, Reed?
Yeah, like a long time ago, but it was for I guess you'd call it spatial computing now. It was for like virtual worlds and stuff.
Oh, like Linden
It
Labs
sounds really lame.
Second Life?
Yeah, it was Second Life was cool a long time ago, I promise. it was really cool, but maybe not so much anymore. But yeah, I was on a podcast a long time ago, and there, I don't know, people listen to it. It was cool.
Yeah, it's fun when you actually get things off the ground. It's a little slow to start. Typically, you have to get like a repertoire of episodes under your belt before people are like, oh no, they're going to keep up with this. So yeah, maybe about 10 episodes, and then people start really tuning in a little bit more. So I'm really excited to launch this again. Corey Petty from the Bitcoin podcast is who I was. So my background, I also a computer scientist, but my last many years have been in cryptocurrency. With the most recent ones in focusing on learning all about consensus protocols, which distributed systems is hard. Holy cow. It's like one of the hardest fields in computer science. Like, and like learning it felt really good, but then at the end of it, I was kind of like black-pilled by a lot of the things that people are promising won't work. And you don't know that if you're not deep in the space. Even other computer scientists are like, no, that could totally work. But like, no, once you finally get the principled reasoning behind it, you're like, oh my God, none of this stuff's going to work. So you can't argue with them. They don't care. And it's not about what's true. So I kind of like...
money, bro.
Yeah,
Money.
see, that hits my heart really hard. I want things to work well. And that's kind of why I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe I should start branching out a little bit. I think AI really has my interest right now. So I'm really happy to kind of like do this as well. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, Josh. So we have a list of topics actually I would like to go
You were asking
over.
me about Llama 2, and I only started talking about Llama 1, then we got sidetracked. I can go back to Llama 2.
Oh yeah, sorry man, we're all over the place.
No, I mean it's fine. We were just talking.
We also got to talk about GTP4's architecture leak.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. That's why when I said mixture of experts earlier, it was kind of like an ode to that. But okay, Llama 2, they dropped it. I think this is Facebook really trying to put the boot on OpenAI's neck. Like they're competing, and Facebook, or Meta, sorry, they're one of the biggest names in AI right now. Like they build all the tooling that everybody uses, like PyTorch and stuff like that. Anyway, Llama 2 comes out, and you can use it for commercial purposes. Boom. But and there's also
because that was a problem we were having Llama 1. We were looking into using it. We really wanted to use it, but
it's like, do you think they'll notice? Oh yeah, they'll probably notice.
Yeah.
But that's not a big deal anymore. Like they're like, oh yeah, definitely make products out of this. And they have a partnership with Microsoft the way OpenAI did. It's just, Zuck is in there stepping in between. He's like, hey, can I have this dance? And just pulls Satya Nadella away from Sam Altman, and they're on the dance floor now doing stuff. The biggest criticism I've seen so far is that the base models, like when people have been running them, particularly the examples I was seeing were from the 13 billion parameter model, and they would ask it stuff like, and there's tweets I can show you, but it's like, hey, can you give me a dangerously spicy recipe for mayonnaise? And it's like, oh no, as an AI model, that's dangerous and I can't do that. And it's like, what are you talking about? So they put a lot of safety mechanisms into the training of the models, so that they wouldn't go off the rails and do anything like, I don't know, teach you how to make a nuclear weapon or something like that, I guess, or how to make a gun, how to make, I don't know, drugs, beats me. I'm sure all those would fail. Like I said, I haven't been able to run the model myself yet, but that's what's going on. But as soon as that happened, as soon as like the same day I saw that, this person on LinkedIn, or not, sorry, on Twitter, because the entire, like, for real LLM community on Twitter so far, like a lot of them don't use their real names. Like most of them don't, and especially if they're doing like real shit, I think they don't want to associate their day jobs with what they're doing on Twitter, which makes sense, I guess. It was Technium, and they have a model, and this is backed by, I think, Microsoft. I hope I'm right about that, and I didn't just say something that wasn't true, but I think they are. They have a model called New Hermes Llama 2 13B, and they were able to essentially fine-tune all that nonsense out of the model, and then they were able to ask it those questions and get sensible answers out of it.
I did not know that.
So it's kind of cool that the community is just running with it, and maybe this was just like a kind of like liability thing for Meta, like they don't want to get sued, and then they can point at like the other community members, like, hey, that's not our model. Like
wasn't our guy in the Philippines? No, that wasn't us at all.
I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's really helpful because like they give these models out, and hopefully that trend continues. There's some talk now with I'm on a subreddit on Reddit for, it's like, what is it? Local Llama. It's about running Llama locally, which I can't do because I don't have a six pack of I don't know. You'd only need like a bunch of RTX 3090s probably, but I don't do it locally. I do it on AWS. Anyway, they were talking about a similar release from GPT, or from OpenAI, like some variant of GPT being released that you could potentially run locally. They're like, oh, I'd never do it, use it, but I was like, don't go fanboy on this. Like, if they release it, like, I'm gonna run it, and so is everybody else. Really, the limiting factor would be the license. Like, what are they gonna allow you to do with it? Like, as with Llama 1, it was for research, and Llama 2, you can use it commercially. But they might just, I don't know. If they released it at all, I think a lot of people would use it. But we'll see. I don't know. That's just kind of scuttlebutt right now.
How are you feeling about some of these cloud infrastructure tools that we're using? And it feels like they're really expensive. I'm looking at these numbers and I'm like, this is $90,000 a year for something that we don't really. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it would have paid itself off in a year and a half if we just bought the hardware. But part of me is like, also the hardware is like a moving target, whereas this always scales exactly to where we need it to. And I feel like these prices are going to have to come down too.
I
Of course, that's
don't
a
know.
moat.
Yeah, it's a moat. Yeah, it's advantageous. Excuse me. It's advantageous, I think, for a lot of the big players, to keep that moat in place.
Yeah.
But and I mean, this is me calling it a moat. That's my opinion. I don't know if the community agrees with me or not, but that barrier,
It's not a very
I think,
big
is
moat.
advantageous to a lot of people. And Nvidia is a lot of the recent investments in Nvidia. Nvidia's been investing in a lot of companies like in a big way. And I don't remember the name of the company, but the accusation was basically they traded an assload of H100 GPUs for a giant stake in the company. And I've seen that happen twice, like where they're investing heavily in an AI company, and it's like, well, they're going to turn around, that company is, and immediately buy as much NVIDIA hardware as they can. So it's kind of like they're getting a coupon for the NVIDIA GPUs in exchange for a piece of the company.
Yeah, but that's the thing. As a piece of a company, that's a big deal. Like giving that
Yeah,
away
yeah,
is
yeah.
a big deal. You got to manage your cap table pretty good. And like these companies that get hardware for investment, I mean, like capital's a lot more. I would rather have. Well, I mean, they're giving you discount, I'm sure, so it doesn't matter. I just feel like capital is a really good way to. It's so much more versatile. But with the Nvidia thing, they're doing lock-in. I guess they don't have to even worry about lock-in. So. It's interesting. They are dominating the market right now. Like there's
Well,
the AMD thing that you. Oh, what's that AMD? Huh?
The AMD's the only company that could potentially compete, and they don't really right now.
Yeah, yeah. What's that name of the you were the thing we signed up for that
Tiny Corp.
Yeah,
that's George Hott's company. I saw him on Lex, so did everybody else, and he was also on Latent Space, and that is okay. We can segue into the GPT architecture leaks, but that was the first one. He went on Latent Space and just basically told everybody what it was in like a few sentences, like a general description, and because he heard from a person, somebody sang a song to him, and he doesn't give a shit. So I'll just tell people. But he's trying to compete, like with NVIDIA, with AMD stuff, and according to him, the problem is really a software problem. Like the drivers and stuff won't. Like the GPUs, the hardware is there. They can do matrix multiplications. It's just you got to wrangle them correctly such that they will do it for, machine learning purposes in a way that's useful, without crashing. A lot of his gripes were that the things would crash all the time.
What is the software like? Don't they also use CUDA? Like, what's the problem I'm looking at here?
So CUDA is really an NVIDIA.
Did they only use OpenGL with AMD? That doesn't sound right.
They have OpenCL.
OpenCL, I mean, yeah.
I mean, I don't. To be honest, I don't know because nobody uses them for this. But yeah,
well, like,
OpenGL.
How do game developers take advantage of it if there's no?
You're talking about like a graphics API or
Yeah.
like Vulkan or something like that. So they're compliant with all that stuff. But like CUDA is really an NVIDIA type thing. Like it compiles for it's really just it's pretty locked into NVIDIA. Now look, I'm talking out of my ass a little bit because I don't know, I've never looked
Well, it's their code. I mean, it's their thing. But yeah, I mean, like I used CUDA back in 2000 some odd to do. I needed to create a database with like 1 trillion entries, and if I had done it manually, it would have taken me 3 years. If I had parallelized it in threads, it would have taken me a year. And if I had actually just used CUDA, it took me 5 days.
Like that.
Yeah, so I was like,
no, all that's true. That part of what I was saying is true. But on the AMD side, according to GeoHot, he was actually running a CUDA kernel, but with AMD hardware somehow. I don't know jack shit about that. But I do know that his goal is to sell a computer like a tower that has, I think he said 6 AMD GPUs in it, and it will be able to run Llama. He said he was talking about Llama 1, 65 billion, but I imagine he'd now want to run Llama 2, 70 billion. So that's this goal, and I can't remember how. I think it's 15 grand, and it will fit under your table or on top of it. So I'm a big dork, and that sounds way cooler than running shit on AWS personally to me. But I don't know what the business sense is there. It may be good for business. It may not be. I don't know. Like you said, you don't have to update your hardware for AWS. AWS just does that, and you just keep paying the same amount.
Yeah, it's a complete rebuild every single time. Like
Price.
every single time you want to keep up, you have to build a whole new boom, 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 boom. And that was the thing about AWS. It was just like that's why data centers moved to cloud. It's not. It wasn't cheaper when it started, except for the fact that you'd have all this overhead associated with upgrading your hardware that was removed.
Hey,
and then it eventually became cheaper. By the way, it eventually became cheaper than owning your own hardware.
Hey, your video froze on my end. I hope it's not frozen for you.
I don't know. Let me see if it's frozen for everybody else.
Maybe it's just me.
Is it better now?
Nope.
Nope. Oof, that'll be annoying for you. Let me fix that. So
I can hear you fine, so I don't really care.
Yeah, I just want to see what's actually happening here. Let's see, YouTube.com/ This is a good chance to do a bit of a self promotion. YouTube.com/ @OverGeneral.ai. Let me look at my own camera here. Oof, that'll be mute that. No, I still got it.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Can you fix that? How does that? I don't know what would break there. This is not through me. This is through Streamlabs. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Are you fine now?
I'm not. I'll let you know when it comes back on. But you're kind of stuck in this position where you're like.
Do you think it's going to come back on? Do you want to hit refresh?
No, I don't. Well, I don't know. Do you think it's good for the flow of the conversation?
I don't want you to be turned off by my frozen death stare.
Oh,
like,
if it goes back to me, I'll refresh and then we can go. But for now, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So we've got a lot of things we wanted to cover, and we are already like 37 minutes in. So I think it's interesting to watch some of the products that are coming out. I'm a little surprised by what I'm finding using AI these days, and I'm not sure if all of it's technically AI in that large language model and generative model sense, but then some of it kind of seems like it definitely is. And one of the things that I noticed is I was vetting software for video editing because I am not a video editor. I wanted something simple, and I was trying to see what was out there. I got this thing called Descript, DESCRIPT. I ultimately decided not to go with it, but I did have it for about a 48-hour trial before I ditched it. And in that time, it's got some pretty cool AI generation techniques. First off, it's doing transcripting on the fly, and it edits the whole video through transcript. But that's not exactly AI, but it's neat because the actual video editing itself is like you take the transcript of the video that you've dictated to, and you create scenes from that, and that puts cuts, and that allows you to actually do the editing from there. I thought that was great.
There's probably a model in there doing that. That's probably a machine learning model.
It's super neat, but it was very clunky in practice, so I didn't actually want it. But one of the cool things is they have like voice reading technology, so you could write a script and it would actually like synthesize voices and put that in there. And this kind of stuff is starting to appear everywhere. Like these used to be magic back in the day. I mean, like I remember 2015 watching that kind of stuff happen and convincing voice synthesis, and it was like not convincing and it wasn't very good. It still sounds robotic, and a lot of this stuff is getting very smooth. The inflections are getting better. I would say it mispronounced some stuff, but I can't exactly blame it. Like, I didn't know how to pronounce my name even when I wrote it Kooshay. It was like Couché. Or no, it was like Koosh. No, I can't even remember. It was so bad. Yeah. It was so weird the way it said it. And then like if I put my actual name in there, it would have never gotten the last name. But like, there's a lot of things you got to do to sort of finagle it into understanding stuff. But that's true with people too, man. Like nobody's going to get my last name right if I meet them off the street anyway. So I'm kind of like, I'm kind of really excited to see how some of these smaller things become everyday conveniences. You know what I mean? To the point where we're going to start expecting this kind of user experience wherever we go, right? Like, I'm waiting for better form input technology. I'm waiting, like all this other kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of things that I think it's just going to benefit from this. I'm really impressed. One of those fields that I'm actually really impressed with is some of the graphic stuff. So just so you guys know,
Midjourney's bomb. Now, I use Midjourney like a lot, and you know how? Oh, so we're trying to come up with a UI for a thing. Like, guess where that came from? You know?
yeah. Well, guess where our logo came from?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't use Logo Diffusion. I couldn't get my hands on it, but I did just finally get my hands on it. I actually have to check that real quick because he's given me, literally as we speak, he's given me access to the newest version of his application, which I'll show off in a little bit. Let's see. Sweet. I'm in. All right. But basically, I'm really impressed by like what a lot of these people are doing. I forgot what I was going to say before I got distracted. But I think like a lot.
Basically that, I think.
Yeah, we built our logo off of Midjourney. I went in there and I asked it 1,000. See, this is the key. This is why I'm saying the product isn't in, the fact you can do it. There isn't a blocker in the fact you can do it manually. The product is in doing it efficiently, and I had to spend an hour and a half before I got a logo that satisfied me, right? And I don't even know if a lot of people will like our logo or not, but it's a good first crack, right? And so this is the problem people are having, is that they need to do work, and if the amount of mental effort to get it done is greater than the hiring somebody else and then you just doing something else, then people are not going to turn to AI for themselves, right? But if you're able to build a user experience and a user interface which simplifies the process to the point where it condenses it down to a 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute even exercise instead of an hour and a half for the same kind of thing, and probably with better results that are more likable, more to your liking, people are going to then start looking at some of these tools as actually tools. Is directly going into these stable diffusion systems, these generative AI systems, and typing out, oh god, what's that goddamn prompt? / no gradients. Like literally knowing all those little things is a study in the application in and of itself. And so being able to build something which coaxes the user to do the right thing, or even removes their need to understand the right thing and just does it for them, is a huge benefit. I actually just realized I have a screen share, and I don't know if anyone will be able to hear you if you're not in the background of the screen share. So I'm going to have to fiddle with stuff real quick. Sorry, folks. But I am going to show... I'm actually do this for all of them. I'm going to copy all of these. I'm going to show you guys this interface and why I'm jazzed, because it's a really good early example of how things are, where things are kind of going. You know what I mean? So I'm going to move all these to not see. Now you can't see them. Move that up. Screen capture below it. Cool. So let's see. I think you guys can see my screen now. Reed, can you say something? Can you hear me? Ah, gosh dang it. Oh gosh dang it, there's nothing in that folder. Alright. Give me a sec, Reed. I will get this. I will get this really quick. I'll try and do my best. So I need to copy that. This is super not fun, but I'll do this later. I'll do just you now. There you are. Wait. Hold on. Okay, I see what I can do there. As long as you are visible, it will play your sound, which sucks. But it is what it is. I'll keep that in the background so nobody even sees it behind the desktop. And then it's just
very helpful of it.
Yeah. It's this. Yeah. Streaming services. Okay, so. This is a really cool. I'm really impressed by this product. I think I guess it's a. I don't know. It's got the whole microtransaction thing going for it, where you buy credits and stuff. And so I'm really. Let me go F11. I'm really impressed by this whole system here. I think it's neat. I got a fresh copy. This is a brand new version of Logo Diffusion. I think it's really cool. So let's just show it off real quick. So it's got a very intuitive interface here. There are some advanced settings, but just to get off the ground, you can straight up draw something. So I'm going to draw a tree. Oh crap! Pen. I'm going to draw a tree. I'm bad at drawing. And then we're going to draw a trunk. And basically, how would I do it? Brown. I'm not even good at colors. Look at me. There we go. Brown. And then I'm going to draw some grass. And then grass. And a little grass there. And then I'm going to do a bird. Okay, so like that. Just birds. Happy little birds. Happy little birds. Okay, I'm going to save the changes. And then I get to choose all these little knobs and options. So one of the things that might be hard for people on the podcast to know is that there's these options here, like image influence, which defines the influence of the redesign method. So basically, how much is this image making this new logo works? Just so we're clear, the topic, the product here generates logos from derivative works or on its own based off of a prompt text. It takes use the image colors. So because I put green tree with green grass and a brown trunk, it should try and make something similar to that. It gives it a degree of freedom. So I could say it's very strict or it's super free. I'm going to go middle of the road here. That you do simple stuff like, does it have thin edges? Shape blocks. We go with a thick outline. Edge detection, logo details. We'll go with some of the default settings here. It gives you a number of iterations, which people won't understand, but it's hidden behind the advanced settings. And so people who do understand go, oh, well, that's a lot easier than what I was doing before. It gives you a random seed so you can get things back again. Just a lot of cool stuff. One of the neater design considerations I found with this, though, is if I typed make the tree less realistic. Oh wait, I forget if I'm doing this right. No, let's just do this. I think I know what I want to do here. Let's go realistic trunk. Oh, realistic birds. There we go, birds. Okay, and see, I'm gonna go. I don't know. So add more importance to the realistic birds and a little less importance to realistic. We're gonna do styles. You can choose all sorts of different styles here. So I'm gonna go with let's go with something cartoony, and then I'm gonna hit generate. And then what it does is it starts. It just goes ahead and takes all this information. It puts it in a stable diffusion model, and then outputs something that's supposed to be kind of close to a logo. And if you don't like this, you kind of refine it down and make it better. But this makes the process so much faster and a lot more efficient. So I don't like the fact it cut out the tree, so I'm going to just say realistic. I'm going to just say happy birds. Did it even take the image influence into account? Oh wait, did I reduce that too much? No, that should be good, right? Okay, generate. So it's pretty neat, I think. I like the way that they did this. And to kind of offset, there we go. So there's my tree, there's birds. I think it thought that the birds were clouds, and so it added birds on top. That's my fault. That's totally my fault. But this is kind of closer to where I was and what I wanted, so I'd open that up and I'd go thumbs up, and I could download this result and make it. It's still kind of beta, by the way. So make it work better. Let's try shape blocks, and you can get different all sorts of styles here. Let's go with pictorial, and I'm going to remove the word birds, and since it doesn't happy clouds. And we go with pictorial, and we go with happy clouds, and we're gonna generate again. So you still have, think of all the iterations and all the questions I would have to do. Now I just change one word. So like in a mid-journey thing, I would like rewrite the same prompt in 18 different ways to try and get the logo that I wanted and to try and get as many iterations of that as I could. And now I'm changing one word, and I can add another emphasis to it. So now this cloud is like super emphasized compared to the word happy. And look, it came up with some better stuff. So let's see, image influence, creative freedom. Let's just reduce the creative freedom down a little bit. And I think it's a really cool user interface that's only going to get better, and it's constantly going to improve. And I think that right now it's actually doing really well. A lot of the best use cases are probably for a mascot. So let's just let's upload. Actually, let's see what happens when I upload. Oof, the logo I made, which should be right here. Let's see what it does to it. It's probably going to mangle it a little bit, but I could always tweak it and make it better. So let's delete that and go writer two robots talking. And it should do some cool work on this. I think it's really neat. I think it's coming along great. It's got some great tutorial videos out on it too. There we go. So like this took my original logo. See, this is kind of a better, I think, use case. It took the original logo that we have, and it made it something more stylistically in the shape of, what did I do? Pictorial. I think that's neat. I think this is just really neat. You know, look at this. This is a lot better. Like it's not better. I like our current logo. It's the design I want. But if I was to take some derivative work and be like, I kind of like this, but I want it to be like this style, this is the kind of thing you'll be looking for. And I don't know. I think this kind of work is really where where the whole process is going, where products are going. And for those who are doing the audio podcast, I apologize for showing things. But you know, the robots looked better than the tree. I drew a fucking shitty tree, all right? So like that's the problem, is I drew a shitty tree. Don't blame the app. But the actual robot thing, I mean, this is really good. The stuff that it came up with, and it did it based off of our logo. It made it a different style entirely, but still kept the same milieu, the same feeling behind the logo. I thought it was really neat.
Yeah, I mean, it's prompt engineering, which diminishes what you're doing or what it's doing, but that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and people were like, "Oh, prompt engineers aren't real," but like, dude, this is a product because prompt engineering is a thing.
Well, I mean, if you're thinking you're going to go get hired by knowing how to talk to ChatGPT just right, you know, you're the guy who the boss goes to and says, you know, get the LLM to do a thing for me, and you're the one who knows how to type in the magic words correctly, I don't think that's a thing. Or it might be a thing right now in a few places. But when I say prompt engineering, I mean something more akin to like generating HTML from JavaScript or something like that. And, you know, like automatically generating the right commands based on, you know, just a few parameters, like abstracting that giant paragraph that probably was given to the model in order to generate what you saw, abstracting that away to just a couple of parameters like the UI you had. Yeah. That's, I think, prompt engineering.
Yeah,
you know, prompt writing is probably what people are, you know, like talking about right now.
Yeah, I think so. That's a good point. It is just prompt
yeah.
writing, and this is prompt engineering. He's taking these very complex ideas and putting them in automated, repackaging them as a UX that people can understand. Plus, this guy told me he's running his own Stable Diffusion models. So he trained his own models to build this. Like this is based off of his work on the model side as well. It's not just the user experience. Although I will say, the user experience is a huge part of it. So yeah, no, I'm very impressed with this kind of stuff, but this is going to put a lot of people out of work.
I don't know. I don't necessarily.
It's going to make their jobs less. So here's the deal.
They're going to be more productive.
They're going to be more productive, which means we need less crappy ones.
Or we build more stuff. There's just more stuff. And digital content, the price of reproduction there is like near zero. So I think it just kind of like, in the agricultural revolution, hunters and gatherers didn't go away, it didn't result in less people because we didn't need as many people to go get food or something like that. That's weird. That's a weird thought. I think that we're just going to, production is going to go up. People aren't going to be like, oh, I lost my job, I'll just sit here now. They're going to go build more stuff. And maybe some people will lose their job or their jobs will change or something like that. But man, I said this on LinkedIn. I saw something and it was some guy. And I think we talked about this earlier. I think I said this to you. It was he's like, oh, woe is me. I'm the developer or one of the developers, I think, of Beat Saber. And he was like, I just gave it a prompt and it generated all the code for me to build Beat Saber. And my point is, it could not conceptualize Beat Saber in the first place. It could not and wouldn't have, a human being had to do that. Like they came up with the idea. So AI isn't there yet. It's not making up the games for us.
And again, like this situation here with logo diffusion, like the best result came from me going through a process on Midjourney, picking something I liked, inputting it into logo diffusion to stylize it in a way just right, And so if you have better sketching, then you can do this. I'm a terrible artist, so my tree came out terrible. I also probably picked a terrible subject. So my tree is terrible, which generated terrible results because I'm not a very good creative. But
maybe. I'm gonna push back right there. Like I'm gonna say that you don't even need to be a good drawer. You just need to have some design sense. And if you have design sense, the bar is now a lot lower for you to get into the game. So I think people are just going to make more stuff. And the quality of the stuff they make is going to go way up. So, I don't know. That's probably going to stabilize a lot of stuff. I don't know. But I don't think that means all the jobs go away. I think GDP goes up because we build more stuff.
It's kind of like how swordsmen kind of went away when guns appeared.
Yeah.
But we're still shooting each other at mass with guns. So
some people get stabbed too. I don't know. So we want to get dark with it. Yeah, sure.
I don't want to get dark with it. By the way, thank you for your military service. I think though we're gonna see some pushback. So like Steam won't allow any AI generated content in their games.
Yeah, that was some bullshit.
So there's we're worried about congressional stuff, congressional regulation, which I really want to talk about. But we're gonna have self-policing as well.
Why did they do that? Why did Steam?
Because they probably can't discern whether or not it's derivative work or whether or not it's original creative work.
Yeah, that's what.
And so from a legal perspective, it made them very, very uneasy.
Now, conspiratorially, I wonder if they're building their own LLM to generate content for games, and they don't want to have anybody come in and compete with them.
We need to talk about that next week. By the way, there is a application out there for making AI generated content models and all that stuff for games. It's getting pretty good.
Yeah, I've seen it here.
Yeah. So we'll pull that up next week. But
they're afraid though. I think they're afraid of legal ram because nobody's sussed that out yet. Nobody knows what the deal is. I don't know. My understanding, I have a limited understanding of copyright. Like I had to take a class in undergrad, and about it, and I think it was
the synthesis class, huh?
Yeah, something like that. And they were worried about I guess nobody wanted any of the students to build the next Napster or something like that. And but
I see.
these things aren't making copies of the original work. Like um, and I don't know, maybe sometimes they are. Like you could probably have it recite the first part of Tale of Two Cities, like GPT-4 or something, and be like, "Oh, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times." And I guess that is sort of a copy, but it could. I don't know. I've never tried, but I'm not sure it would get the entire work of A Tale of Two Cities correctly
How
if you had to
many?
get an output. And that's
Yeah.
not
So like, how many movies are a Romeo and Juliet story?
yeah. Well, yeah. There's my point is like there's fair use is a thing, and I'll read A Tale of Two Cities, and it will make an impression on me. And say I go write a book, and I was inspired by it. Like we're getting close to that's what the machine is doing, And I don't know what the hell that means, legally speaking,
Yeah.
So I don't know. They'll have to figure it out. And I think Valve is afraid. Yeah.
Well, I think the point where things are going to get weird is when the AIs are programmed to have taste. Right now, it's a shotgun approach. You generate, you generate, you generate, you generate. But if you have a model which when it takes an output, it can go, okay, this looks realistic, this doesn't look realistic, this looks like something people will accept, this doesn't look like something people will accept.
Being able to discern things?
Yeah, to be tasteful. To not just be just randomly just doing shit. Just be like, this is the best version of all the versions we got in this number of iterations.
Well, so you originally said that, and I do think they have opinions, but the opinions that I've seen the models output are baked in them through reinforcement learning, through human feedback, that sort of thing. And it's usually like it's like I said, I can't give you a recipe for spicy or deadly spicy mayo because that's dangerous or something like that.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So it's kind of like really.
You want to tell them about that?
Did I already mention it?
I don't know if you did. I might have been messing with the interface at the time, which means I can only half pay attention.
Yeah, no. Anyway, they're just kind of the big models that I've seen are yeah, I definitely did talk about.
Okay,
they're a little
sorry.
bit lobotomized, and they're on Rails. So I've seen that. Or like as an AI model, I can't tell you like if you try previously in my experience, I try to get it to behave as like a mean person and be like, hey, would you treat this person in a mean way under these certain circumstances? Like, well, you shouldn't do that, It's like, well, you're missing the point, man.
Yeah. Would you is a valid question, I don't need your ethics. And by the way, it's artificial. Its ethics are derivative. Like the ethics are from the people who made it, and they're arbitrary, and they don't apply to all cultures, and they don't apply.
The ethics are in the data it's trained on. And,
so
and one of the
we might feel that like throwing gays off buildings is a bad thing.
Yeah, you have a point. And dude, we're about to see a brave new world. Like we're going to see some really weird models out there. But we're talking about moats, and I think the numbers I've seen for Llama 2, the compute cost for training it was somewhere around $50 million, I think.
Yeah.
Or 25.
By the way, that's not much. I hate to tell you, but I know people whose net worth is a lot more than that. This is not much.
Spend that much on training an LLM? I don't think so.
Now they do. They didn't before. There was a big it was a risky investment before they showed that it could work. Now everybody knows it can work, and they're dumping billions in this stuff. That was a small investment with a huge payoff. Although I got to say, OpenAI doesn't have a product. They don't have a service. They don't have a product. They got people paying $20 to write letters to their girlfriend. It's not this, and it's not even very good. Like
I don't know. I use ChatGPT for way more than that.
You know what I mean, though. Like I know, so you use it for marketing material. I get it. Like I used it for our marketing material too, because I didn't feel like writing it all, and so I gave it a synopsis and say, "Flesh this out," and it did, and I don't even feel ashamed about it anymore. So like,
no, why would you?
Yeah, like literally, it's like why this is not good use of my time.
If you're if anybody has like a problem with using it for some reason, like they feel it's not real, like that's a chump. Like you need to get on the bandwagon, bro, because this is not going away, and it's only going to get better.
Yep. It's interesting to see where the government regulates this.
For me, like I don't like if there's an API I don't understand. I don't have to sit there and figure out the entire damn thing in order to understand how to do the one little thing that I wanted to do in the first place. I
Yep.
can just go and ask it, how do you do this one little thing?
Yep.
And it's like, oh, you just do it like this, and I'm done. If I'm
Sometimes
reading
it's
a
great.
paper, I don't have to read the whole paper. It can just summarize it, and then I can ask it questions about the parts I don't understand.
Yep.
It's a time saver, like
Yep.
so much. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
Yep.
plenty. I feel like right now, just for me, I guess. Yeah, but I'm also, I have a computer science background, and I know what I'm talking about. I mean, I like to think I know what I'm talking about sometimes about things.
But the thing is that their moat is gone.
Well, they don't have one with Meta because Meta can do whatever the hell they want. So can Microsoft.
And they don't have it with AWS because AWS can do, Amazon can do whatever the hell they want. And they don't have one with Microsoft because Microsoft can do whatever the hell they want. And Google, because Google do, and it might take them time, and they might be like corporate speed, which is like it takes a long time to turn big ships, but like they are fighting. They're swimming upstream. They're swimming up a stream they filled themselves with water. So like they are having a real. I don't know what they can do. Of course, they just got a huge investment, but like, where is their product going? Considering that there's so many players. Then again, like Microsoft is involved, and like there's a lot of reasons to believe they're going to be successful. I just having a hard time seeing how a chat app is the end of the story for them when they don't have in ways to a lot of other things right yet. Now they might, but I don't see them. So they probably do in the back end. I just don't know about them yet.
Do you know who Andrej Karpathy is?
Name sounds super familiar, but I'm bad with that stuff.
He was formerly the head of AI at Tesla. So
okay, that's probably where I heard it.
But he
was the guy. Was he the guy saying that computer vision will be sufficient? You don't need LiDAR.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah,
that's probably why.
The guy, but he was like one of the key people who made that decision.
Yeah, I like that decision.
But you don't agree with it?
No, because the timeline is protracted out a whole lot longer than I think he estimated for, and I'm not even an expert. I can see that most of the human brain. I was saying this back in 2017. I was arguing with this guy in Austin who's an AI expert about how this is not happening. He's like, no, within the next year and a half. I'm like, dude, that's not happening. And like, it didn't happen. And then they're like, oh, it's going to happen. And it didn't happen. It's because this is a really hard problem. It's not intractable. Obviously, humans can do it.
FSD, full self-driving, doesn't use the LiDAR.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And it's not very good. The LiDAR improves the model quite a bit. The ones that are actually successful and actually do really well, they improve the model with LiDAR. LiDAR is very useful. But
you were on Lex.
They were talking about within a time frame that it just wasn't going to happen. It's going to eventually happen, but like it's so far away, and it has to beat humans because people are going to hold it way more liable than they are.
I don't know. I don't know about self-driving cars, but he's regarded as a pretty bright guy, and he works at OpenAI now. But it's like they just pay him to hang around and just do whatever the fuck he wants. And he wrote Llama 2C, so he works at OpenAI.C. Sorry, and so he wrote an implementation of the Llama 2 architecture, like a really tiny one, like that you could train. It won't run any of the released Llama models, but Llama is an architecture. So he wrote an implementation of the architecture in C. It's like 500 lines long. Most of that, I looked at it. Most of it's just a bunch of like struct definitions and stuff about like different, like this is your neural network layer, and this is the things it has in it and stuff like that. And he said that he even got ChatGPT 4 to help him with the implementation because he didn't remember much C, and he was making memes about it, like that meme where you have like the dog sitting down and it's a chump, and that was his C, and then like his C with ChatGPT was like the same dog, like but super buff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he wrote that, and it's a pretty neat. It's if you know C, you can go look at it, and then you kind of get like the curtains pulled back a little bit about how the Llama architecture actually works.
Huh.
So it's something you can go look at, and like I said, it's only 500 lines, so it's not that crazy.
Set in my mind. I want to look at it. I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, no, you should definitely check it out. But I just kind of thought it was funny that he's working at OpenAI and he's writing Llama implementations. But the reason
you have to. That's the thing. Is like
talking about products. The thing he says, at least in his story bio, I think right now, is he's working on building Jarvis, like from Iron Man. But
that's neat.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do, and that's why he's there.
Okay. So the ultimate AI assistant.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, I can see that. All right, fair enough. I'm on board with that. Let's do that. All right, so we're kind of getting towards. We're definitely up against the time wall here. One last anything you want to say before we dip set?
Yeah, and this one's hilarious. Paul Krugman. Do you remember what he said about the internet back in the day in like the 90s?
No. Who's Paul Krugman?
He's an economist for New York Times. He's also
Yes, I've seen that article. Okay, there we go. All right, yeah. See, you got to put it in a frame of who people are. Anyway, go ahead.
So anyway, back in the 90s, he said that the internet, nobody would ever do business on the internet.
Yep.
He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
People still listen to him. And he said, basically, GPT and other large language models are no big deal. So, I mean, this is like that guy on Mad Money, like basically telling you to buy, you should sell if he says buy. And if he says sell, buy. So, anyway, there's the weather vane right there. Paul Krugman says it's no big deal. So it definitely is. Just wanted to say that.
We have a whole lot of episodes ahead of us to make that argument. So, yeah, I think this was a good inaugural chat. We'll try and get some more interviews. So we'll network around and ask people to come on board. I think that's going to be really an important part of this, is to have more fireside chat stuff and talk about what's out there product-wise. So, yeah, guys, thank you for joining us on the very first episode. And with that, we are out.
Bye.